Alright, what's up guys? This is Live to Ride. This video I'm going to show you how to Plasti Dip your motorcycle or any type of Plasti Dip application. It could be your car or whatever if you want to Plasti Dip. Today I'll go over the procedures, and then afterwards I'll have a demonstration here that we'll cut away to. So the first thing, what is Plasti Dip? I got a can right here. Plasti Dip is a multi-purpose rubber coating. It's just basically a spray paint that is rubberized. So instead of paint coming out, there's rubber. And as you can see, this is what it looks like here. The cool thing about Plasti Dip is you don't have to sand or anything like that. You just put it on top of your bike, and whenever you decide you don't want it anymore, you just remove it by peeling it away. So it's pretty simple procedure, really. So now I'll tell you about myself a little bit. I am a professional painter. I do not paint automotives, but I do paint. And I'll kind of instill some of my knowledge and show you guys how it's done. Alright, so first thing you want to do when you're about to Plasti Dip, or paint in general, is you want to determine, do you want to remove the fairings or the parts you're painting, or do you want to keep them on? Now, removing the part is definitely the best way to do it. You don't have to worry about overspray as much. You don't have to really worry about much of anything if you just remove it. But some people, they don't feel comfortable removing it, or maybe they don't have the tools, or whatever the reason may be. The first things that you're going to want to buy is probably buy like a stack of newspaper, 1 or 2 stacks, or if you got some old magazines laying around the house, that'll work. And then you'll want some masking. You'll want 1-inch masking and 2-inch masking. I do not have 1-inch masking with me today, but I do have, I do not have 2-inch masking, but I do have some 1-inch. See, this is some 1-inch Scotch. Walmart sells this. Pretty much any other place sells it. So you definitely want masking. That's one of the most important things that you're going to want. Okay, so let's say that you wanted to leave the parts on the bike and you wanted to paint the tail section here. So all you would want to do, you can also buy plastic mats at Walmart. It's like a big plastic sheet of like 100 yards of plastic, and you just cut it to whatever size you want. But you can get that plastic sheeting, and then you can just lay it over top of everything here, lay it over top of the wheel, and then lay over top of all of this, just like you would lay a blanket over something, and you can just tape it to the ground or whatever. And that's one way you can use this. Oh, and the most important thing that I forgot to talk about is the environment. Whenever you're painting something, Plasti Dip, or it doesn't matter, you want a controlled environment. You don't want it to be outside where the wind's blowing and bugs are all over the place. That's gonna, your paint's not gonna look good if you do that. So basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to have like a shed or something. Bring it to a shed, a garage if you want. And if you don't have those options, if you live in an apartment or something, you can always just take the parts off and bring it inside. And that's that plastic sheeting I'll show you later in the video. You can use that to protect your house, the inside of your house. And yeah, so that's just something you definitely, that's a must. If I started trying to paint this right here with the wind blowing around, it's not going to look good. So make sure you have the correct environment. But yeah, so just want to kind of mask anything that you don't want painted. Use your newspaper, use your masking tape. Now here's something that a lot of people don't really understand. Let's say that you want to paint just this ring here. You don't want to paint your cap or anything, just this ring. And what you can do is you can take some 2-inch masking tape and just lay it over across of everything, just like this, over across everything. And then you can take a razor blade and you can actually cut away all the stuff that you don't want to paint, or you do want to paint. So let's say you only want to paint this outer ring and you don't want to paint this. Put your 2-inch masking, take a razor blade, cut along the edge here, and then cut along this edge. And then you would have just this spot unmasked right here. You could pull it away, pull it whatever way you wanted. or you can leave this part masked and then pull away this edge. So that's how you can do that. The way Plasti Dip works is you can actually spray it over top of lights and stuff, and you can actually just peel it away afterwards. But the one thing to know is that the Plasti Dip, if the gap is not wide enough, the Plasti Dip will bridge that gap, and when you peel off your Plasti Dip from this, it will actually peel off the rest as well. So that's another thing to remember. Before you start painting, you want to use alcohol. You can use rubbing alcohol, just, you know, like the comes from the drugstore or Walmart or whatever. Just $1 for the bottle. It's like this big, and it's just like 98% isopropyl alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and that won't damage your paint on the bike or the motorcycle, or the motorcycle or the car or whatever you're painting. It won't damage the paint at all. So, but it will remove any like grease and oil and dirt. So you have to clean anything before you paint it. Otherwise, the paint's not going to stick, and you're going to get bubbles and other stuff like that. Now this right here, you can kind of tell. See this big ugly line here and here. That's because these spots had to be redone because the Plasti Dip peeled away at those spots. And then right here too, you can also see it. It's not as hideous as that other spot is, but you can tell it's not very pretty. Here's another spot. Now this is the Plasti Dip actually wore away right here because there was something rubbing against it. So you don't want to have to go back over spots because it's just gonna look nasty. Alright, so break away from this and we'll actually show the demonstration. Alright, so this is going to be my painting station here. You can see it's just inside my house. This is the plastic tarp that I told you about. This is like a couple, I think this is a few hundred yards. This is a lot thicker when I first bought it, but you really just unroll it and it's a big sheet. And you can reuse it. As you can see, this has been used before. So basically what you want to find your environment, and that's what we got here. We have our environment. Here I'm going to demonstrate to you a few different things. I'm going to demonstrate the painting application. I'm also going to demonstrate something called spray pattern. I'm going to show you something about the overlap of paint and stuff like that. So here I have some regular Rust-Oleum black high heat spray paint. I'm going to show you what a spray pattern is. So first you want to shake it up, obviously. Alright, so this is a regular spray can, right? See, it has a round spray pattern. That's why spray can paint jobs always look so crappy. Because whenever you're painting with that round spray pattern, what happens is all of the paint is focused in the middle, and it kind of builds up and it drips whenever you're painting. And the thing about Rust-Oleum that is really, or I'm sorry, Plasti Dip that is really cool is it has a elliptical spray pattern, which is the same type of spray pattern that you get when you are spraying out of a high volume, low pressure paint gun, like when you're painting a car or whatever. So shake up, and this is what the spray pattern on Plasti Dip looks like. You can see it's elliptical, unlike that. So whenever you're painting, it's a lot more controlled. This Plasti Dip is running out, so it looks a little spotty. This is the red one, obviously. Okay, so that's what your spray pattern is. And whenever you're spraying, you want to maintain a 50% overlap when you're spraying. Alright, so here's a demonstration with this. Just show you how not good this is. You want to maintain 6 to 10 inches away from the surface. So kind of like that. And you want to, whenever you're, let's say you're painting corner here, and I have an object we'll be painting. So you're painting a corner here. Whenever you want to start and stop off the edges. You don't want to maintain a continuous spray, because what's going to happen is you're going to build up and it's going to drip and stuff. Alright, so, and obvious with the Plasti Dip, it's much easier, makes more sense to do that. Alright, so this is just a metal casing that goes on a desktop tower that I don't use anymore. I don't have any alcohol with me, I've used it all. Tell you what you want to do is you want to get something coated in alcohol, preferably like a washcloth, and just rub the area down. Just like this. And then before the alcohol dries, you want to get something like a microfiber cloth or something. I use this glove thing here. And you just kind of want to go like this and wipe off all the dust, all the alcohol before the alcohol dries, because once the alcohol dries, it'll leave residue, and any of that oil that the alcohol picked up will actually reset back onto the what you're painting. So I'm going to use this red here. I'd rather use the black, but this will show up better. So whenever you're painting, like I said, you want to maintain that 50% overlap. So I'll point this here. I'll show you. Okay, as you can see, that's a very spotty paint application, but you know, that's kind of the gist of it. Now you want to wait between 10 to 30 minutes for your first coat. This is your first coat. Don't apply it thick, just apply it just the way I did. Alright, so that coat is now dry. There's something I want to show you that I did not show you before. You can get these handles for your spray can, and it just clips on to your can. Oops. Just like this, and it kind of makes the spraying application a little bit more like you're actually using a spray gun. So if you do use a spray gun, this is nice. It makes it easier, and also you kind of control your can a lot better. But I'm not going to use that for this demonstration. Alright, so shake your can up again. Always check your nozzle and make sure it's not clogged. And between each coat, you kind of want to do a test spray to make sure that it's not clogged. And you can see that it's sprayed out just fine. So, alright, so this application is now has dried, and we're going to do about 4 coats. And we'll see what it looks like in the end. Now this is red on black, so you definitely want to do more coats for a better color, but for this demonstration we'll only do 4. Another thing is when you're masking, just like I said earlier, whenever you mask, as soon as the final coat is dry, you want to demask everything, because the Plasti Dip will dry on that masking tape, and when you peel the masking tape, you will peel the Plasti Dip off of your item. Here we are, we're going to spray paint, or we're going to paint this next coat. All right. You can see it's sputtering because it's almost empty. Typically, if it's sputtering like this, you probably want to replace it. But I can see spots that it did not cover, so I'm kind of just touch them up like this. Alright, so now this coat's ready to dry. Alright, so we're on our 3rd coat now. Just gonna. This time you can actually apply it a little thicker, because the Plasti Dip is starting to set a little bit better. And this is running out, so hopefully it'll make it through the rest of this. You want to maintain a 50% overlap from this coat to that coat. That way you don't leave any spots missed out. Alright, as you can see, it's starting to look a lot more red, even though this can is so empty, and it looks a little spotty because of that. But we're gonna dry, and we're gonna go to the next coat, and I'll try to fill in some of these spots in the next coat. Alright, so that coat's dry. Now this time around, I want to show you something called cross coating. Something that I do in my job. Basically, what cross coating is you'll go perform your coats just as you always have, and then you'll come back and then do another coat the opposite way. And it helps fill in any spots that you might have missed. So we're going to do a cross coat. Typically, this will be separate coats. This time we're going to start off the coat that we didn't do before, and this is our fourth coat. We're going to do it another fifth coat just the way we did earlier, and hopefully this will fill in the coats. Now another thing you can do throughout the process is you can actually perform the cross coats. You know, one coat this way, one coat this way, and you can do that through all your coatings. I was running low on paint, so I didn't really show that, but perfectly perpendicular to the spot you're painting. Now it's hard whenever the can is empty because all your paint's at the bottom of the can. So whenever it's this way, all your paint is on the side of the can, and that's what you lose a lot of paint. And I'll show you a remedy for that in the next coat. Alright, so that coat is done. The next one, we're going to go back to our original coat. That was our cross coat there. And I'm going to show you the remedy to use what's left in that can. Alright, that coat is dry. It's looking a lot more red. So here's the remedy here. Is you want to place it at a vertical angle. That way, when you're painting, what happens is all the paint that's in the bottom of the can will actually go up the nozzle. So. Another thing is, between each coats, you want to wait a minimum of 10 and a maximum maybe of 1 hour. If you wait much longer than that, the Plasti Dip's going to set, and it's going to, whenever you try to demask later on, the Plasti Dip might have cured on top of your masking, and if it cures on top of your masking, whenever you're demasking, you're going to pull the Plasti Dip up on your item. So you don't want to let the coatings dwell too long between. So whenever you're doing this, you want to make sure you have ample amount of time. Alright, here we go. Remember, this can be applied a little bit thicker because it's a lighter coat. This is really getting empty on me. Alright, so yeah, as you can see, there's still some spots that were missed because this can is going out. So I'm actually going to go back over those spots. Whenever you're going back over spots, you want to make sure you apply the same motions. Start off the spot, stop off the spot, let go of the button. Alright, so we're going to let this dry. I want to use what's left in this can, and then I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Alright, I went back and applied some more coats. I used up the rest of the paint that was in there. But yeah, as you can see, for the most part, the red is pretty strong, pretty even. Unfortunately, since the can was empty, you can kind of see some spots that are not as thick. Now, to remedy that, you can always apply more coatings, and if you have a full can, then that won't happen in the first place. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to let it cure up, and I'm going to show you what it's like to remove it. So it's finally dried. So you've painted your Plasti Dip and you don't want it anymore. What do you do with it? Well, you simply peel it off, just like so. Find a corner, and remember these coatings are very thin, so it's probably not gonna peel off as good as it should have. I'm also doing this with one hand. Makes it a little bit more difficult. It basically just peels off like a sticker, kind of. So. Wherever it's thinner, it's gonna stick. It's a lot thinner on these holes here, so that'd be something you'd have to go back later and get, but yeah, simple as that. You don't like your Plasti Dip, then you just peel it off. And then you can go back over this. Just kind of rub it with your fingers. And it'll come off too, as you can see. Easy. Alright, and that's it. That's how you do Plasti Dip.